Judea Hartley here. Happy Wednesday once again, party people. All right, folks, so we teased a very special, sweet, and talented guest at the top of the show today. And guess what, folks? She is here live in person with us on today's AM show. I want everyone to stand, right? Get your enthusiasm pumping wherever you are. I want everyone to show your love for Miss Quail Salmon. Woo! So we are super stoked to have Caitlin with us in the studio today. Caitlin is a special guest because she actually is a blogger. She's a poet. She is an author. She is a writer. She is 18 years old. She just graduated from Valley Stream Central High School. And you guys, Miss Caitlin is off to college this fall, Stony Brook University to be specific. She just has so many incredible, amazing things going on. And you guys, that's right, she is an author. She just finished her book, The Quail Princess, and we are going to talk all about that. We're going to chat it up. And Caitlin is actually going to be reciting 3 of her poems for us today. So Caitlin, thank you so much for coming.
Hi.
Yes, hey girl.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great.
Well, good. You look beautiful, first of all. You look beautiful. I'm super excited that you are on today's show. Shout out to your mother and your twin sister and your cousin who are definitely off camera. Definitely have the fam supporting Caitlin off camera. So Caitlin, we are going to just talk a little bit about your poetry, your love for poetry, who inspired you to write, just a regular chat like we do off camera all of the time. So with that being said, tell me when you first fell in love with writing.
I would say when I was 10 years old, I read a Percy Jackson book and I just fell in love with it. And I started to write my own version of the story.
Yeah.
And then I got the idea of becoming a writer.
Wow. Okay, wait. So when you wrote your own version of the story, what inspired you to actually come up with new ideas on your own? Because so many people I was a nerd when I was growing up, and nerds are super cool, but I would read books and I would actually create my own imagery. You know that, being a high school recent graduate, ELA. You create symbolism, metaphors, similes, and your own imagery in your mind. So reading books for me was such an escape. So I'm curious, when you read the book, instead of just imagining what was happening, what was being written in the book, what prompted you to then begin to write your own version of the book? I'm not that good. How do you do that?
Well, I would say that whenever I read the books, I would pick a character I would love and I memorize all their lines. And I would say it in the mirror. And then I would go back and I would write my own version of it, of myself.
Yeah.
And then I would say, can you repeat the question?
Yeah. No, you're basically answering it. I was just basically asking, where do you draw the inspiration from to actually write your own version of a book that's already written? And what it sounds like is that you really find yourself in the book, and then you actually draw out, or you write out what you want to be doing. Are you singing? Are you acting? Or are you dancing? What is your character doing in your stories? Do you ever write you in your stories? You write yourself into it? All right, so what is that? What does your character do?
Well, I would give them around the same character traits I have, and I would give them the same name as myself.
Okay, and how's their personality?
I like to give them very humorous, quiet. Yeah.
Almost like you. Yeah, I like that, humorous and quiet. So I think that so many children, from my experience growing up in high school, especially the quiet children, I wasn't really a quiet child, honey. They had to tell me to be quiet. So I wasn't a quiet child, but so many of my friends were quiet, and reading and writing served as an escape for them. Does writing serve as an escape for you as well? Do you go into your own zone, girl, when you write? And if so, what does that look like?
I would just imagine stuff I would never do.
Ooh, like what?
I don't talk back to a lot of people, but in my books, my characters are very confrontational.
Okay, hold on. So I love that. Wait a minute. So this sounds like you're almost writing in your book what you maybe struggle with in real life. How does that feel? Like, okay, I'm very quiet in real life, but in my writings, my character will get you together, girl. Or my character will stand up for myself. Maybe I was bullied in my real life, but my character, when I'm writing my books, really stands up for everybody else who got bullied or stands up to the bullying that's bullying me. Do you ever want to become the character that you write?
Yeah. Some parts of
Does that
them.
character give you confidence?
I would say because I separate them. But yes, I feel very confident in my characters.
Okay, so where do you draw inspiration from? Is it from nature? Is it from life experiences, peer pressure, high school, your parents maybe? What do you look to when you start writing a piece?
Usually I would look at films or other books to see like their writing style.
Yeah.
And if I'm like pulling a blank, then I will look at, okay, what type of plot do I want? And usually I try to write like outside of my own genre I used to enjoy.
So wait, what's your genre? What's the genre you write in?
I love fantasy, and sometimes I'm trying to do more romance. I love action as well.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Why do you love fantasy?
Because it's not the real world, and I can make it anything I want when it's fantasy.
Yeah. I love that. It's like creating your own outcome. I think there's so much evil and so much sadness and just really mean people in the world. And I think fantasy, especially as an 18-year-old blogger and writer, that gives you the opportunity just to create a new narrative, right? Where everybody gets along and things are just a lot smoother. I'm curious, why do you like action?
Well, when I would watch movies, I always loved the FBI, the CIA shows.
Okay.
So I like to pretend like that too.
Okay, so you have to paint a scenario for us. Like, what's some of your action pieces? What happens? The middle, the beginning, the end, the plot. What happens in some of your action pieces that you write?
Well, I always loved the informant one. I did have this one story where the girl was an informant for like the local gangs.
Okay.
In the community. Yeah.
And then what happened? Is she she's the bad guy?
Well, she is for the cops, but she goes into the gangs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So that gives you an opportunity to be another character, to be this feisty, fierce, I'm coming to save the world kind of character. And you also stated that you also love romance. You are 17, 18 years old, girl.
Yeah.
Okay, so where do you draw your inspo for romance? What do your romantic pieces look like?
Well, I don't really have much of it in there yet.
Yeah.
But it's one of those things I want to start getting into. But I would say I would use Pinterest sometimes to see what other artists use.
And speaking of other artists, what is your favorite book now? Like, you're a writer, you're a poet, you're a blogger, so you guys are always reading and writing and always studying other people's work. I get that, drawing inspo. People do that in all different industries, music industries, sports industries, etc. So what book are you reading now? Because I'm going to tell you the book I'm reading now as well, and we'll share.
I would say The Hate You Give.
The Hate You Gift. The Hate You Gift?
Yeah, give.
The Hate You Give.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, who's that by?
I think her name is Angel Thomas.
Angel Thomas, and what is that about?
Well, it's about a girl, and
It's about
she's a black girl, and like around her community, she grows up in the hood, but she has to go to a predominantly white high school.
Okay.
So she's going through racism, and then it's about police brutality. So she goes to a party, and the person she will be her friend. He ends up getting profiled by a cop, and he dies. So now she's like experiencing like how the media portrays like Black people and police brutality, and also growing up in a white school, because then she gets like a white boyfriend. So now she looks at it both sides.
Wow, that sounds layered. And I think one of the reasons why that book is so prominent is because, unfortunately, it is part of our real life. That sounds like a lot of adjustments that she had to make, being a Black girl, having a white spouse. So now we have those interracial relationships happening and people really judging that, which they shouldn't. Love is not a color. And then, of course, with the stopping and the frisking and the police brutality, I love books that speak to what we're currently going through. I really, really do. Love books that speak to our situations. It serves as an escape, and it sort of like educates us in terms of what we can do, right? If we're in different situations. Now, with that being said, who was your favorite English teacher in high school and why? Because my favorite subject was ELA. And of course, you know, I went to Valley Stream Central just like you, so many years before you. But I remember getting a final grade of a 100 in my English class. And my teacher, I don't know if she's still there, I completely forgot her name, but she just really made us feel so at home, right? She made it easy to learn and to engage with her, and I'll never forget her. She might be retired by now, but I'll never forget her. So with that being said, who was your favorite teacher in high school, your favorite ELA teacher in high school, and why?
I would say when I went to high school, it was COVID, so I was more shy, so I never interacted with my teachers until like 11th grade. I would say my 12th grade teacher, Miss Chan.
Miss Chan! Yes. Shout out to Miss Chan! Sorry, I love Miss Chan. Okay, Miss Chan was my ELA teacher as well. Okay, go ahead.
Yes. Like, she made me feel confident in my writing because I'm taking the AP class. Yeah. And I always felt like I wasn't meant to be there, or I wasn't smart enough. So when I was able to sit down with her and she listened to my college essay, I felt very inspired.
Yeah. Oh, wait, I love that. That's inspirational. Let's go back to that. And what was your college essay about? Give us the synopsis. What did you write about?
It was about track and field, because I also love track.
Yeah.
And it was about, because I would do everything with my sister.
Okay.
So this was the first thing I would do, indoor track, and I was doing it by myself.
Yeah.
So I developed independence, and I was up late, so I had to learn how to get all my homework done on time. Like, very stressful for me.
Yeah. But see, even with all of those stresses, look what happened. You still graduated. You still got accepted into Stony Brook University. You still finished your first book, The Quail Princess, which we would definitely, you guys, talk about in part 2 of this interview. But Caitlin, you have three special treats for us, and I want you to share one of those treats now. You guys, Caitlin is actually going to share one of her poems with us. So Caitlin, why don't you tell our viewers the title of your poem, and then be confident in that, girl. Project your voice, be confident in your skill, because you're certainly talented. So tell us the title, and then please read one of your poems to us.
The title is Pre-Existing Portraits. I look at my bedroom, the atmosphere of quiet, of streets and conversations, of anxiety and worry. I find a hint of impatience that hinders my existence, but intrigues my interest.
Ooh, wait. Beautiful. I love how short and powerful your poems are. Caitlin actually performed one or two of her poems at my church. So explain where that poem came from. I look around my bedroom, I see frustration, I'm impatient, I sense anxiety. Tell me about that.
Well, the form of this poem was blackout poetry, and I did it at Adelphi University when I went to their Poetry Out Loud. And so when I was writing it down, because it was an exercise we did. Yeah. So usually my writing process is like, I would take or do certain exercises, and then I would try to make sense of it in my own way. And a lot of themes in my poems are about anxiety and worry, because I felt that, especially during this year, because I'm going to college and finance, or am I going to get into this college? So I just feel like cornered sometimes.
Yeah.
But like in the comfort of my bedroom, I just feel safe.
Yeah. Oh my God, I love that. Give me your hand. Thank you so much thank you, Caitlin, for sharing that with us. I think so many of us can relate to that. So many of us can relate to feeling cornered, to feeling frustrated, to feeling inadequate, to not feeling good enough. You know what I mean? Especially when we're getting ready to embark on a new journey that we're not familiar with. You know what I'm saying? It's not like mom or dad are there. It's not like best friend is there holding your hand. And I think that when we feel so overwhelmed, we start to act like not someone who's not us. We start to act out of ourselves. But it's always that little sweet element. It can be a poem. It can be a conversation. It can be reading the Bible. It can be prayer. There's always this little sweet element where we can sort of release, always serving as an outlet so we can release our feelings and our emotions. We're going to talk a little bit about that anxiety that you definitely are going to overcome right before you enter college. I'm speaking that. I'm believing that for you. We're going to talk about that, you guys. We're going to talk about Caitlin's new book. We're going to talk about where you folks can find Caitlin's published work and the content that is currently on her blog and what was the inspo behind that. So much more coming up with Caitlin Salmon, you guys, right after this commercial break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hey party people, up on the screen here you can see our special guest for today, who is an author, a writer, and a poet, Miss Caitlin Salmon. Everybody please show your love and welcome back Caitlin Salmon. That's right, girl. That's right, girl. I love it. Please show your love and welcome back Miss Caitlin Salmon. If you are just now tuning in, party people, no need to fret because we do have a second part to this interview. And if you're just now tuning in as well, you guys just missed it, but Caitlin absolutely performed one of her beautiful poems for us. We were talking about her acceptance to Stony Brook University, where her inspiration came, right, in regards to her writing and with the books that she's reading right now. She's reading The Hate That You Give. Definitely have to check that out, girl. Really does sound like a book that will resonate with you, especially deeming that it's so relevant, right? Relevant to today's society and today's economic culture as well. But you guys, Caitlin is actually going to dish on her new book. So Caitlin, she's 18 years old, by the way, folks. 18 years old, blogger, writer, author, and she's never been on television before. So girl, I gotta tell you on camera, you're doing good. You're doing good, and you got the memo. On Wednesdays, we do wear pink. Do I have a little pink? I got a little pink. Can I sit with y'all? Do you like Mean Girls? Have you seen that movie? Girl, I love me some Regina George. Yes. So tell us about your book that you actually finished. When Caitlin and I, folks, were chatting a couple of weeks ago, Caitlin was still working on her book, but she actually finished her first book, and the title is The Quail Princess. Am I correct?
Yes.
You guys, let's get that artwork up here. This is the concept for her book cover, actually. The Quail, there it is. The Quail Princess. Okay, why the title? Why the title? Why the title? Tell me about the title, The Quail Princess.
Well, I wrote this when I was 14 years old.
Wow.
Yes.
Wait, did I read that book? I felt like you were just like working on that. Okay, so you wrote it when you were 14.
I've been working on it.
Okay, I thought so. Okay, so tell me about it.
But the idea came to mind when I was 14 years old. I was into Disney, so I said, I want to make my own princess. I always feel like I'm kind of like a princess.
You are a princess. And what does being a princess mean to you? Like, what does the princess do in this book? Outline it for us. What's the beginning? Like, what happens? Because I want to read it. What happens in the beginning?
Well, I made her a shy girl, and she lives on a farm.
Yeah.
And she meets this quail that asks her for all the food inside the farm.
Yeah.
So she gives it to him, and then she goes back to her parents, and her parents are angry with her because they need that. They need to sell the food on the farm so they can play their landlord, or else they're not gonna have their home anymore.
And then what happens? How does it end?
Well, ends up her parents do die.
Oh.
But she has to end up working at the kingdom.
So is she happy? Is she happy in the end?
Yes.
Okay.
But only like a certain time period, she's a little bit depressed because she's angry at the quail because she feels like he tricked her.
Wow. And how many pages is this book, Miss Caitlin?
It is a children's book, so I made it like 15 pages.
Yes, absolutely. So fun fact, Caitlin, you are so not alone on set today because I actually am working on a children's book as well. And I concur with you. I concur with you. I resonate with that because it's almost like you want to tell stories that we've never seen before, that we've never heard, that children may have never read before. You want to tell stories through your own lens and through your own experience. And I think with children's books especially, it's important to include diversity, right? You want like Caucasian, African-American, Asian, Hispanic, African, Nigerian. You want diversity so children can see themselves. They can see themselves in these fantasy worlds, in these action-filled worlds. They can see themselves in these little positions of power. So I love that. So when will the book be released? Like, what's your date? What are you aiming for? When can we get it in our hands?
I was thinking a year from now because I still need an editor to look at it.
Yeah. And I know you, Caitlin, because you're such a great writer, you're probably coming up with a concept for another book. Will you write others?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah? Tell me about that. Do you have like the concept for the second book already? Have you thought about the second book?
Well, it's not related to the children's story, but I want to aim for like young adults.
Okay. I love that. Like what age?
I would say 15 to like 20.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. And what kind of stories would you tell in that book?
Still fantasy because I always love fantasy.
Yeah.
But I would put more realistic fiction in there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I'm confident that that book will help so many people because I think there are so many folks in high school that really do suffer in silence. There's so many things that people go through, from peer pressure to feeling anxiety, to feeling not good enough, to being lonely, to feeling awkward. It's like, how do we make friends? How do I make this high school experience less daunting than I already think it is? You know what I mean? I went through all of that. We went through all of that in high school. So I love reading material, whether it's a book, a pamphlet, a television show, something they can see, watch, listen to. I love content that really just encourages, especially young adults, encourages young adults in terms of how to make it through that weird, awkward time. Now, speaking of making it through that weird and awkward time, girl, you made it through. So you have just been accepted into Stony Brook University. Tell me how excited you are about that. Like, Caitlin, what did you do as soon as you got that good news?
I was running around in my room because I wasn't expecting that I would get in because I had a 30% chance. So I applied a little later than all the other schools. So I was keeping that to the side because my original choice was University at Buffalo.
Yeah.
But then I started to like think about it because a lot of people would tell me it's cold there.
Yeah. We don't like the cold.
And it's like 3 hours away.
Yeah.
So when I got accepted to Stony Brook, I was so happy because that was only 1 hour away. And I wanted to be away from my family, but still like close enough to go back.
Yeah. No, I understand that balance. It's like you going like away. I know it's about an hour away from them. It sort of forces you to be independent, sort of forces you to make decisions on your own and to fight and stand for yourself, which is imperative in regards to character building. But then you always want to reach back. You want to reach back and be able to go get mama or go get your sister or your beautiful cousin or dad, whoever. You want to reach back and get your family. So I love that balance. I love that you decided to go to Stony Brook University, but I'm curious, why Stony Brook?
Well, it was ranked like higher as one of the best SUNY schools.
Yeah.
So I wanted to go like to a school where I feel like I'm part of like the elite or like the smart people.
Boss and CEO. Yes, you are one of the elites. Well, Caitlin, let me say this to you. You don't have to go to any school to feel like you're smart. I used to teach charter school, 2nd grade through 5th grade, and I would always tell students, do not correlate your value to what you can do, right? Oh, I'm valuable because I completed my to-do list. I'm valuable because I got all A's. Even if you didn't get all A's, we're so glad that you got it, but even if you didn't get all A's, you're still still valuable. Your value is in your identity, and we know where your identity comes from. So I love that you have decided to go to Stony Brook. But girl, you were Miss Caitlin Salmon, blogger, writer, poet, elite, even before you got accepted into Stony Brook. So please know that. Please know that. So with that being said, I want you, Caitlin, to share your second poem with us. Tell our viewers the title, and then of course share that beauty with us so we can dissect it.
So this next poem is Heard.
Heard.
So Heard. Sorry, I'm a little bit nervous.
You can look. You can absolutely look. It's hard. Public speaking is hard.
But as we fight with strong words, strong feelings, we separate ourselves from self-control, breaking away our whole heart. But when we use our words for good, it brings us back to being heard.
Oh, I love that. Snaps. You know those poetry slam clubs? Come on, y'all. Give her some. Yeah. She's only 17 years old. Give her some snaps. So I love that the poem is titled Heard, because I think so many young people struggle with that, right? They act out. They go into drinking. They go into smoking. They start partying. They start involving themselves with all of these people. And it's really, in my opinion, most of the times it's a cry for help. It's a cry for help because they don't feel seen. They don't feel heard. They don't feel cared for. They feel like people are overlooking them and ignoring what they're going through. And if they are going through something, sometimes it's hard for 17 and 18-year-olds to articulate that. So with all of that being said, why did you write Heard? Where did that come from?
Well, I am on social media a lot.
Yeah.
So I do see how overly negative people are. So I wanted to point that out, because sometimes people are unnecessarily rude and mean to each other. But if we just understand like where that person is coming from or what they're doing, like even if you don't like it, you don't need to say it in a rude way. So that's why I wrote it like that. I also wrote it at the literary magazine that Miss Chen is in charge of.
Yeah. I love that. So 2 parts here. So first of all, I love that as a member of the Gen Z generation, you have witnessed the mental health toll that social media takes on folks. It really does. I think that comparison is certainly the thief of joy, and social media just enables so many young people to compare themselves, their money, their looks, their body, their drip, if they have on the latest sneaker, and it can be a lot. It can be very, very overwhelming. So I love that you're sort of incorporating that old school philosophy that still works. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Be kind to people and stop projecting your fears and insecurities onto other people. Yes, let's give it up, y'all, for Heard. I love that. All right, with that being said, tell us a little bit about the magazine that you participated with Miss Chan. I forgot. I don't know if I participated in that magazine when I was a senior there, but tell us a little bit about that magazine and what you did.
I actually didn't know about it until she read my college essay.
Okay.
So she's like, where were you all these years? And I was wondering that too, because a lot of people would ask me, oh, you want to do writing? Like, you should join a journalism club. So I was very happy that I found it. I wish I knew about it before.
Yeah. What's the title of the magazine, just so everyone can hear? What's the title?
I believe it's just Literary Magazine.
The Literary? The
Literary Magazine.
The literary magazine, where so many students, what do you guys do? Do you guys submit your stories? And if you do, what are the stories about?
Well, I remember the first one I did, it was for Hunted, and it was about, well, the prompt, they want us to talk about like a short prompt with like certain, like under 100 words, you're supposed to write it.
Okay. Nice. So is that what you did?
Yeah.
Hunted. 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 Okay.
So you would just submit into their contest, and then you would see if you get in. So I did get in, and
that's beautiful. That is so wonderful. And speaking of being a part of a magazine, I know, Caitlin, that you are also a blogger. And I looked at so many of your writing pieces on your blog, and so many of them were about lifestyle and beauty and hair care, how to take care of your natural hair. And girl, I'm for it, as I am natural. So tell me, when did you start publishing your work on Medium? When did you essentially start your blog?
I would say summer 2023, I started it.
Yeah.
And I wanted to pick a topic that I was familiar in, because usually I stray away from like real world topics.
Okay, yeah. That's that fantasy in you that you love to write. Yeah. I love that. So what's on the blog? Tell us. I saw some hair care tips.
Yes.
What else is on the blog? Tell our viewers.
Hair. I was gonna do one about like Shein versus like very name brand products. Yes.
I love Shein. Do you shop at Shein?
Yes.
Girl, Shein is our sister. She gets us together, honey, on a budget. Super, super cute.
Yes.
So, like, wait, what was your angle in terms of comparing Shein to name brand? What were you gonna write about?
Well, I was gonna say that Shein, well, I was comparing it to Fenty, because I like Shein more because I like my makeup very, very full coverage. So it gave me more coverage, while Fenty gave me more like medium coverage. So I'll always have to add more foundation to my face. And I didn't really like that.
Yeah, I get you, girl. I'm like a medium coverage kind of girl, because even though I love makeup, I am a girly girl. You gotta take care of that skin underneath the makeup. So I love that the blog on Medium really just surrounds itself around hair care, beauty, and some lifestyle tips, maybe some DIYs. Do it yourself, honey, so you can save some money. Love that for you. Well, Caitlin, I know I can't hold you too much longer, but why don't we leave the audience with your third poem? Tell us the title and share that with us.
It's called 7 and 7. So it starts as: too much underestimating, not enough proud, a lot of devotion, a spin of doubt. I'm going through the motions, any obstacle my way. Give me coins and credit to save me some face. I cannot pay for any lessons I've learned through my life.
Ooh. All right, so quickly, tell us where that inspiration came from.
Well, I'm not sure about the title, but I liked how 7 and 7 sounds.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about how I always underestimate myself and how I always view myself like a little less than I should.
Yeah.
And that's something I definitely struggled with. But at the same time, I'm like my biggest fan.
Yeah. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Well, Caitlin, let me say this to you in conclusion. I am super proud of you. You are only 17 years old. You are a blogger, a writer, a poet. You just finished your first book. You graduated, girl, with good grades. You just got accepted into Stony Brook University. And you have never appeared on television before. So let me say that I believe in you. Let me say that there is space and room in this world for you and your beauty and your talent, and you definitely can serve as a massive agent of change, right? Just really dispel anxiety, really just execute affirmations in your day. Wake up saying to yourself that you can do it, you know that you are, right? Just really speaking that positivity into your life, and carry that with you throughout college, throughout your adulthood, throughout your professional pursuit, and I promise you will be whole and grounded. But I certainly believe in your talent. Would y'all show your love for Miss Caitlin Salmon? Come on, everybody, let's do it.
Thank you.
Yes, you guys. And in conclusion, we are going to throw it to a quick commercial break. But right before we do that, you guys, we're going to close it out with this video of Caitlin reciting another one of her beautiful poems. Let's take a look, and then we'll go to commercial. And of course, we will be right back after these messages.
Question mark by Caitlin Salmon. Sometimes I think what I write is unclear, that I just vomit words onto a page with my cranky mind and manage to make it all rhyme. At heart, I'm a songwriter. I can create hooks and melodies in seconds. But when it's one of those days where I need to explain my poems and I stare blank, why did I write this? What was going through my mind? I don't know. It could potentially just be me appreciating my own words and acting like I'm sophisticated. Writing itself is like escapism. When I write these words, I feel the tension ease. You know? Now the thoughts are out of my mind, but what do they truly mean?